It's not bad. It's not bad. It's not bad.
Welcome back to Gloves Off. A bit of rugby league news breaking into the football chat. Peter Bedell reporting Alex Johnston is Papua New Guinea Chiefs' first signing deal for one season worth about $300,000 per year.
That's the boy that went to Spurs last year, Ange bought. Yeah? Johnson. Now he's gone to PNG.
Brennan Johnson.
Yeah, he's changing codes as well. That's an outstanding signing. How much did it cost him? Because I think Spurs bought him for $30 million.
I think you're a little confused.
Am I? I like being confused.
Let's get to this. World Cup previews. So we're going to do two groups
Tricky Ricky?
per week. Yeah, it's Tricky Ricky Martin. 2 groups per week in the lead up to the World
excited. Are you getting excited?
Group A
By the way,
and
I
B.
had a look at the program yesterday. My wife wanted to ask you a question. I know we're on now. Sorry about this, Alex. Yeah. Is that right? We're going to Vegas in the program. Is that in the program as well? We're going to Vegas.
We're going to Vegas?
That's what it says in the Fanatics program. That means we're going to Vegas.
Didn't know that.
So there'll be a live show for SEN from Vegas.
Have you got your consular visit booked, by the way?
For what?
To get your visa.
I don't need one of them. I just turn up, rock up. Yeah, so there's the B-man. Yeah.
Who's co-calling with Simon Hill now?
Yeah. Yeah, rock up. Says the boss.
sorted that
What's the
out.
problem? I ain't going to cause any trouble for you.
Yeah.
I'm going to enhance your country.
I want to be in the queue behind you when you rock up to the guy at LAX and go, oh, visa? No, I'm the Bozzo. I don't need
I
that.
was going to tell him I'm here to enhance your country.
Yeah.
Heart down.
Group A, Mexico.
Oi!
Who have we got? Mexico,
Mexico,
South Africa,
one of the hosts.
South Korea, and Czechia.
Yes.
So
Opening-
Mexico, these games will be in Mexico.
Yes.
Opening game will be Mexico, South Africa. South Africa, of course, have played in an opening game of the World Cup. That was back in 2010.
How did they
Firstly,
go, you remember?
Mexico, coached by Javier Aguirre,
Aguirre.
who did have John Aloisi on his books once upon a time.
He did. He was also here in Australia with the Japanese side in 2015 for the Asian Cup, if you remember rightly, when they got knocked out the quarterfinals.
The weight of the home nation. Can Mexico overcome that? They're ranked 15 in the world. Good side. Solid players.
Very, very
mainly
good side.
in their domestic league.
Always, even playing against them, against youngsters, always very, very difficult teams to play against the South American team. Well, or you could say South America, but they're CONCACAF technically. They will take it as close to the line as they can in terms of keeping you out. They'll have home advantage, like you said, which is a double-edged sword. And I'll say that for the whole 3 nations because the weight of expectation can start to grow if things aren't going particularly well. But I think they'll be too strong. They'll qualify from this group. It's not going to be easy for them. Opening games are where always the early games. This is what I said to Scott McDonald about Scotland. They play Haiti in their opening games. You've got to be careful because everyone's ready and raring to go. But they should be absolutely okay. Obviously qualified because they were host nations. They got friendlies versus the Socceroos, one of them, Ghana and Serbia, in the lead up to the finals. And obviously their standout players, as we know, the captain Edison Alvarez, who's on loan from West Ham at Fenerbahce, and Fulham striker, who you'll see against Arsenal this week, touch wood for him, and Raul Jimenez. He looks set to lead the line again. And I think half his squad will be drawn from the Mexican domestic Liga MX. So watch out for them because, like I said, they're a very, very dangerous side when they're playing at home as well. And you'd have to say out the 3 nations, I mean, there'll be a toss-up between them and the US, I'd say, which is the strongest. But, out of the 3, if I had to meet one, there was one I wouldn't want to meet. The one I wouldn't want to meet is Mexico, in Mexico. So they'll be very, very tough for South Africa, South Korea, and Czechia, who just recently qualified on penalty kicks, as we know.
Yeah, so South Africa caused a bit of an upset. They got past Nigeria, one of the stronger teams in the African continent. They're ranked 60 in the world. Hugo Bruce is their manager. He's from Belgium, one of those guys who have just kicked around world football for a very long time.
Yeah.
The majority of their squad, I'm intrigued to see South Africa at this World Cup because the majority of their squad is South African based, so there's not much exposure to them in a worldwide sense.
Yeah.
But that helps in a sense because they know each other backwards.
Well, 100%. And you have that sort of esprit de corps as well. Because I always notice as well, there used to be a little bit of a divide from the boys that played overseas and the boys that played in Australia. Just a little bit, where it'd be a little bit of, I don't know, I wouldn't say envy. That's maybe a bit too strong. But just a little bit of, difference until they got to know you and so forth. There's always cliques inside a side, And until they got to know you and all that.
You tried to overcome that by putting on a night on for the boys. You've got a limo organised one night.
I did. The Adelaide boys didn't take up the opportunity, unfortunately.
Didn't they?
No,
The Adelaide boys?
No, I think they were talking about net zero and all that back in the 90s. They were. Solar panels and all. No. But it's hard sometimes. You got to be able to manage it in a really, really good way. That's why the late Terry Venables. Because remember at the time they had this idea of having to try to make it like Origin, the overseas boys versus the Aussie boys.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but one of the first games.
What do they call it? The Travellers.
I don't know. It didn't take it, but Terry Venables scrapped that straight away. He was right. We're all together. Chill out.
South Korea are in it, and Son Heung-min is one of the stars of the World Cup. He's over there playing in LA at the moment. He's continued his form from Spurs. He'll be
have to travel that long.
So South Korea, known as a very organised, physically imposing team.
We know them very well. Yeah, very, very well.
Top side. And
very
Czechia, a bit of a wild card as well. They got Thomas Suchek.
Yeah.
And Patrick Schick, who plays for Schick, I said.
Yep.
The Shaver. Schick the Shaver, he plays for
Bayer
Leverkusen.
They finished. I know them quite well because I watched them as I were in Croatia's group. So I watched them, and Croatia finished first. They were second to Croatia. Were a little bit too good for everyone else in the squad. But they were 2-0 down against Ireland in that first qualifying leg. Came back to 2-2, won on penalties, and then beat Denmark as well. And won on penalties. But their manager is Miroslav Kubek, who was appointed in December after his predecessor, Ivan Hasek, was sacked following a loss to the Faroe Islands in qualifying.
That's not a way forward, is it? Losing to the Faroe Islands?
No, but teams are getting better and better. Yeah, all right.
Faroe Islands?
No, but they are. They're all getting better.
They got electricity 3 years ago.
Yeah, I know, but they're still getting better. Don't be like that, Adam. We've always, everyone's gone for a period without electricity. Yeah, and you mentioned some of the players.
Like who?
We're getting sidetracked. Yeah. They Schick this season, 13 goals for 20 starts for Bayer Leverkusen. Very, very good team, not to be underestimated. So, for me, advantage to Mexico, but the rest of the other two places, it could be two places. Second will get automatic qualification. Third, then you could be one of the 8 best third-place teams out of the 12 groups and could get through. So it could go anywhere.
We are going to do Group B, which is Canada, Bosnia-Herzegovina, Qatar, and Switzerland. Right up.
Because Group B.
Imagine you in year 4. Jesse Marsh, who's an American, managing Canada, and they've got a
long lost relation of the late Rodney Marsh as well, wicketkeeper for Australia. Yeah,
he is not.
Just a little joke.
He presides over a pretty talented squad with genuine world-class firepower.
Cool. And their CEO is our ex-CEO as well, James Johnson. Yeah,
James Johnson.
Yeah, James Johnson. Very good side, very well prepared. So well prepared that they were quite certain they were going to get Italy in the group, but that got scuppered for them.
Unlucky champs. So first game for them is against Bosnia-Herzegovina.
Bosnia-Herzegovina, it'll be a very difficult game. Look, all the opening games will be very difficult because the so-called lesser teams will be they'll be ready and raring to go, whereas the better teams, especially now when there's much more opportunity to get through the group and you can afford more slip-ups, will want to sort of peak right towards the end. So there's a real opportunity. And Bosnia-Herzegovina, as we saw in the playoffs, phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal.
I got some experience with some really talented young 20,
they obviously drew, beat Wales on penalties, beat Italy on penalties, and are real fighters. And I mean, I don't, no pun intended, but they really, really are. But Alphonse Davies is a fantastic player, plays for Bayern Munich.
For Canada, yeah.
For Canada, you've got
Jonathan David
playing for Juventus. You've got some really good players that Canada have, and they're primed. They'll get into the knockout stages. There's no doubt about that in my mind. Qatar are there as well, and we know about Qatar because we play against them quite regularly. They won the Asian Championship, not the last one.
2019, they won it. Are you a little surprised that they haven't kicked on because they got absolutely embarrassed in their home World Cup?
Yeah, they did. I think a lot of that was to do with the double-edged sword phenomenon, like I said to you, about the pressure of expectation. It's a completely different story with the World Cup. They were very disappointing. So they'll want to make sure they put that right. And, Switzerland as well. Look, in terms of teams that have always punched above their weight, you'd have to always include Switzerland in that. They finished top of Group B ahead of Kosovo, Slovenia and Sweden. Ironically, Sweden, who finished last, are actually in the World Cup as well, but that's another story altogether. They scored 14, only conceded 2 in 6 games. As well, their coach, Murat Yakin, He's taken Switzerland. This is his second World Cup now. He's led them to the quarterfinals of Euro 2024 and they're eliminated on penalties by England. Remember, that was very, very tight.
Yeah.
Some really good players to look out for. There's a Kanji, obviously, from Inter now.
Granit Xhaka as well.
Yeah, exactly. There's Renaud Frula from Bologna. Embolo as well, who will be going to his third World Cup, will lead the line again. He's got like 11 goals in 31 games for Rennes this season in League 1. So, Alex, that research...
I want to just jump in here with the Swiss.
No, can I just say to everyone, some of those stats that I'm actually getting is from Alex. That is great work, hence what I said to you. This is so important.
It's my job,
No,
Bozza.
but it doesn't matter, mate. Take the compliment. Just say thank you. Like, give me a compliment. I'll show you how to take it. Watch, go.
Okay, Bozzy, you've been on fire today. Been fantastic.
Thank you so
Great
much.
performance.
And then when you get you get a little bit more out, you say, well, you go, thank you very much. Then you go, but it's so true. Go.
Can I talk about Switzerland? They are not going to be appointment viewing.
Yeah.
Like, a couple of their games.
Yeah.
I want to talk up as many of these teams as possible.
Oh, no.
The Swiss are just
100%,
They
mate.
are
I will
so
say, though,
dour.
the best game I went to at the last World Cup, because it was all in Doha, so sometimes I was going to 2 games in one day. It was unreal.
Everything
Most
close.
entertaining, and it had a little edge to it for obvious geopolitical reasons about what certain people got displaced in the early 90s. Switzerland-Serbia was one of the most entertaining games of football I've ever been
was a
to,
good
full
game.
stop. It
Yeah,
turned
that was a good
mad.
game. Yeah.
So maybe with that Balkan influence in the Swiss national team,
Yep.
playing against Bosnia-Herzegovina, that could be a close watch as well, because there will
Switzerland
be an
are a
edge
good team
to that
and they're a
game too.
dangerous team.
Yeah.
All right. And so are Bosnia-Herzegovina. In terms of Qatar as well, it's, their coach, Julian Lopetegui,
He's
he's
in the
got a
Premier
lot
League
to,
not that long
well,
ago.
not only that, he's got a lot to prove because, we remember what happened to him in when, Spain before 2018 when he was sacked before a ball was kicked because they heard he was going to get to Real Madrid.
Well,
Remember?
he was going to Real Madrid,
Yeah, I
so
know.
he ended
I
up
know.
going there early.
But
yeah.
very, very experienced man. And like you said as well, Adam, their attacking threat, really, Akram Afif is still their standout. He's an outstanding player. With the pressure off them, Qatar, not being at home, I think they could be very, very dangerous because that Asian Cup that they won, they were outstanding.
And
They were
Qatar do have
absolutely
a bit of a
outstanding,
close relationship with USA at the moment. Anyway, moving on. Next week,
Yes.
get down to Cheers Bar on Tuesday lunchtime. Cheers Sports Bar and Grill in Sydney, 561 George Street.
Yeah.
Gloves off and Arvos with myself and Bozza will be live as we continue our World Cup previews.
Brilliant.
And celebrate the world of football, all thanks to Cheers Bar in
Thank
Sydney.
you. Cheers.
So
We'll
all
be
over
down
that.
there.
Yeah.
Get myself a burger.
Are you going to get a burger?
Burger and fries.
Back in a moment. Group C, the World Cup previews. We're live on Arvos and Gloves Off with Bozza at Cheers Bar, which is Sydney's home of football. Open 24/7, 561 George Street. The place will go off during the World Cup. Obviously, all the games on live. We're covering it on SEN as well. And Mark Bosnich, we're going to have a close look at Group C all through the World Cup. We'll cast our eyes over it right now. It's highlighted by Brazil. Can they win the World Cup
Yes,
under
they can.
Carlo Ancelotti?
Yes, they can. The last time World Cup was in the USA, 1994, they won it. Last time it was in Mexico, 86, Argentina won it. So don't discount any of those two teams. They've got some wonderful talent. You just mentioned their attacking.
How's that cheeseburger going?
That wasn't a cheeseburger. That was a water.
Okay.
They got some. You just mentioned the attacking talent that they've got. Esteval, Rodrigo, Vinicius Junior, Thiago. The list goes on. There's talk that they might try to bring Neymar back as well.
Mateus Cunha.
Mateus Cunha. They've got one of the greatest managers of all time, in my opinion, probably the greatest. Who knows exactly how to shuffle his cards.
What's so great about Ancelotti?
Because he doesn't overdo it. His record speaks for itself. He won 5 Champions League with great players at the biggest clubs with the biggest pressure by not overdoing it. And he was a great player himself and played for the great AC Milan side.
Yep.
So, I always remember him saying, what am I supposed to tell, Del Piero to do in the final third? I couldn't even do it. You know what I mean? And he's got a point. And he's pretty much stuck with that. He sort of gets the defence very strong, gets them super fit, and he lets them do their stuff. Because like somebody actually pointed out to me once, if I tell you what to do in the attacking third, and you know what to do, and they'll know what you're going to do as well. Leave that to great players. That's what made you a great player. And that's a difficult thing. And especially, remember as well, and I say this to all the, coaching at youth level, junior level, teenage years, senior level, smaller clubs, middle clubs, but they're all different. They're all coaching, but they're all different. Okay, so you've got to be different with them. And some players need that instruction. I'll give you another example. A friend of mine, Anthony Crea, who was a Socceroos fitness coach in 2006, he worked with Pierre Libarski in Japan.
Great German coach.
Right, so
FC.
all week they were practicing, that was even back then, my little saying about a natural tilt, to one side.
Yeah.
All right, so they were practicing with a natural tilt to, say, the left side. And every time the left back got the ball, he had to sort of play a certain ball inside, right? Then he would rotate in a way that he would underlap, not overlap, right? Whatever. Okay, like.
Yep.
Anyway, the team worked it out. The team they were playing against on the weekend worked it out after 5 minutes which ball he was playing all the time. So they would just stand there. He'd still play it, and the others would get it. And they broke away and scored 2 goals. And at half time, Pierre Libarski's to interpret's gone to the. Just say the guy's name was, I don't know, John. All right.
Yeah.
Okay, it wasn't, but it was in Japan. But just say it was John. All right. John, what are you doing? You're playing. Coach, you told me to do that all throughout the week.
Yeah.
Do you understand?
Yep.
So that's what some players need that, other players don't. I think it's always best to trust your players. That's the benefit of my experience. And say, look, here's your options. You do what you think is best because you're out there. And that's exactly what he's encapsulated. Like I said, for me, they're a big chance in this tournament because of the past, because of the players that they've got, and because of their manager.
The other teams in this particular group, Morocco, who were one of the standout stories at the last World Cup, can they come back again? They've recently changed their coach.
They can. They can. Yes, they can. We saw them in the African Cup of Nations, although that game they lost the final, but the game was overturned. But whatever. They're an outstanding team. Semi-finals last time. They've got some very good young teams coming through as well. Some very, very good young players. We know the star ones, obviously Ashraf Hakimi and
Brahim Diaz.
Arambat as well, who was on loan for Manchester United for a while. They're a dangerous outfit, and we saw that in the last World Cup as well. For anyone who underestimates them at their peril, they finished on top of Group B in Africa with a perfect record. They won 8 from 8 games. They only conceded 2 goals in the group with Niger, Tanzania, Zambia, and Congo. How's that for knowledge, Adam?
Oh, fantastic!
Yeah, you like that?
Amazing stuff.
Yeah.
Haiti are at their first ever World Cup.
Yeah, Haiti. It's a wonderful achievement. Morocco's coach who was appointed was Mohamed Kouabi. So. He was appointed after AFCON. But Haiti, wonderful achievement. One of the few teams that are participating in the same World Cup. Scotland as well.
Their fans will have a great time.
Back at the World Cup for the first time.
Will they enjoy success there?
I think they will. I think
they'll get out of the group?
I think they will. I think that I think those 3 teams, they'll be one of those. I think definitely Brazil and Morocco. And no disrespect to Haiti, but I think that they will...
battle.
No, they will struggle to get out of the group, but I think Scotland can. Coming back to, if it was just normal in World Cups like we had in the past, and you say the top 2 teams, I'd say no chance for Scotland. I really would. But this time around, no. And Steve Clarke is a wonderful man, had some wonderful experience at club level. He's worked when he was a youth team coach at Chelsea, under the likes of Jose Mourinho. The list goes on there. And he's done a fantastic job. First time that they've qualified since 1988. They won that final game against Denmark. Wasn't that dramatic? And poor Denmark must be looking back on that and going like, oh, how the hell did we not qualify automatically? We had Thomas Sorensen on at a time to speak about that. And they beat Denmark 4-2 at Hampden Park. Steve Clarke's now Scotland's longest-serving manager in terms of games played. He's confirmed he'll leave after the World Cup. But he's done an absolutely fantastic job. Players that stand out, Adam, obviously... McTominay, who's doing a wonderful job with Napoli. And there's John McGinn from Aston Villa, Bournemouth's Ryan Christie, and Bologna's Lewis Ferguson as well. Liverpool's Andy Robertson as well. I don't know whether or not he will start, but I mean, he is their captain, but I'm not so sure he will start, especially after watching him on the weekend against Manchester United.
They've got Tierney as well at left back, so they've got options.
They have got options, and their first game is Haiti, which I think is I spoke to Ali McCoist about this because he was saying we've got a wonderful first game start, but the shocks do happen in the opening games because the other teams, they've got no mental scars. They're actually raring to go full of hope. This is when the shocks can happen. So they've got to be very, very careful in that game.
Group C will be a ripper at the World Cup. All of it you can hear here on SEN. Well, we're going to focus on dirt right now. Group D at the World Cup. We've got our World Cup previews right here on Gloves Off.
Can't wait.
From Cheers Bar, Sydney's home of football, to roll through. We'll go to Australia first. Ranking of 27. Our matches that we'll hear live with Mark Bosnich, Simon Hill in commentary. Turkey on June 14, USA, Yemen on June 20, and Paraguay June 26. Tony Popovic is the manager for the Socceroos, of course.
Big Tone.
How much does World Cup experience as a player count as a manager?
Oh, I think it goes a long way. It's not everything because, like I said, you're doing a completely different role, although it's connected to the same thing. So it will go a long way, but the ultimate experience is actually doing something. Now, Group D, in terms of average rankings, is the second toughest group, as we know. But it really is a group where any one of these teams, in my opinion, can qualify.
Really even.
Yeah, really, really even group. Majority of us know about Paraguay. Funny enough, Tony Popovic was in the Olympic team. We had a friendly game with him once before the Barcelona Olympics, which had to get called off because it got a bit feisty.
Really?
Very tough, very, very hard. Don't give you anything whatsoever. Now, Turkey, as they like to be called now, are an interesting one because they've got some fabulous players. And there's a very, very good generation of Turkish players that come through by beating Kosovo.
Yep. You've got Yildiz, you've got Arda Güler, you've got Çalhanoğlu.
Yildiz, Çalhanoğlu for Inter Milan. They're a very good side. And opening games, as we all know, are very, very important in the World Cup. Now, not so important this time. I'll tell you why. Because of the 48 teams, normally it's the top 2 of each group that's going to qualify. We're going to have the 8 best out of 12 groups, third-place teams. So still, kids, this is why I like it. I know Alex doesn't, but I like it because, sometimes if you lose your opening 2 games, especially by a cricket score, you're pretty much out. Sort of like, so I like it because it's going to keep it alive to that third game. So, Turkey, like I said, Turkey only finished second in their qualifying group behind Spain and then went through against Romania and Kosovo. And, of course, the host nation. Now, the host nation are going to be up for it. But that can be a double-edged sword. How? Because expectation, pressure. It's a little bit different than normal pressure we were talking about before about relegation or, teams like, you have to say Australia, who I got nothing to lose, really, in terms of, I do think it will be a failure if we don't qualify for the round of 32. There's no doubt about that, as close to the group is. But there would be some people who disagreed with that in this country who would say, oh, okay, yes or no, whatever. So the weight of expectation on the host nation is large. It can work both ways for them. They're not going to be an easy side. Second game of the group as well. But, we played them in a friendly, so there's nothing really to fear. So,
Looking at the Socceroos, Boz.
Yes, I'm looking at them.
They're going to be very hard to break down.
We hope so.
The issue will be, do we have firepower to change games in an instant?
If we're 4-0 down after 60 minutes in the first game, I'm going to remind you of what you said at Cheers Bar way back on the... what is it today? The 5th of May?
Yeah. We're all
very hard to break down, eh? Adam Peacock, that's right. Yeah, great.
We're all an expert on reflection, aren't we?
No, look, we know Tony Popovic likes his teams. If he had the choice to be, very, very strong defensively, very compact, very resilient, very, very fit. And we saw him have success with that with Western Sydney Wanderers.
We've seen it here, 7 goals conceded across 10 games.
Well, yeah, the only Australian manager, you have to say, who has won an international club tournament. So we know that, but I think he'll also have something up his sleeve. As we know, and especially with modern football, even more. We saw an absolute classic last week between Paris and Bayern Munich. Forget modern or not modern football, historic. You still have to score goals, but even more so now. And that may become a real point towards the end, Alex, in terms of that. Best, because there will be another table that we'll be looking at. We'll be looking at all the tables.
His mic doesn't work today.
Does it not? But I'm just looking at him anyway, so I just thought I'd say Alex. We'll be looking at all the tables, and then there'll be a separate table with all the third-place teams, and goal difference will come into it.
Yeah.
So Mo Toure, Nestoroy, Iracunda, they've both done very well. Mo Toure's scored, I think it was 12 or 13 goals.
Scoring for fun for Norwich. He scored again on the weekend.
Iracunda's done really, really well. They're dangerous. The only little concern I have, I mean, Matty Ryan is our captain and Jackson Irvine is one of our top men, but both of their club sides look as though they're going to get relegated. Well, Jackson Irvine at St. Pauli, they're pretty much down.
Yeah.
Levante are down. Now, that can sometimes have an effect on players as well. So they'll be watching that from a mental perspective as well.
So looking at Paraguay, they're ranked 40. They come out of a very strong South American confederation, but they just didn't concede goals. They're like the Socceroos.
Yeah.
That will be a KG affair, that old one, the KG affair.
Well, we don't know because that's the third game. We don't know.
Yeah, true.
One
but
team might need to win or score goals.
They only conceded 10 goals in 18 games.
Yeah.
You right there?
No, I love this chips.
Oh, my God.
Outstanding.
Yeah, I love listening to people eat. Sorry, everyone listening wrong.
They don't mind, do you? See? No one said nothing.
Fantastic.
I can hear everyone listening to this. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was going to have a big bite of the cheeseburger, but I thought I'll leave that.
We've got the turkey. They were the late ones. And USA, I just look at USA. They're going to be under. There's so much expectation. Some of their pundits come out and say, when the draw was done, in typical American TV fashion, they come up with a big statement and they say, "Oh, well, we've got Australia in one of our games, our second game. That's a free hit."
Oh, fair enough. That's just the way they do. That's the way they negotiate. That's okay. I hope for their sake it is.
Saying that right now.
But that's just their style.
Pochettino, the right man to take USA a long way in this tournament?
He's a very good manager. Very good manager.
Former Spurs
good player. Good player as well. Very good manager. Don't be surprised if you see him at a big club at the end of the World Cup as well.
Yep.
Completely the right man to take them deep into the tournament. And I'm thinking for USA, they should be really looking for quarterfinals at a minimum to qualify for the group. And I think par for them would be round of 16, depending how the draw goes.
World Cup previews continue after this. Brazil's group, we'll talk about Scotland as well. Group C, Cheers Bar, City's home of football, is hosting us today on Gloves Off. And Arvos, we'll be back in a sec.
Obrigado.
Thanks for watching. Now, if you want more, subscribe to this channel on YouTube or hit up SEN Football on both Instagram and or TikTok.